Who here has some trouble sleeping at night from time to time?
Wow,
Most of us,
look
right?
at those hands.
But could your lack of shut-eye be a big underlying cause of ADHD, or could your ADHD be causing a lack of sleep? So new research suggests that many people with ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, they may have problems with their biological clocks. Of course, we know that when you secrete melatonin can affect when you go to sleep, when you wake up.
Right.
And I'm curious about this because this theory of if you have ADHD, could your melatonin levels rise later? Could it affect your sleep?
Right. Well, you know, I don't think we're reinventing the wheel here. It's been well documented that there's a strong association between ADHD and sleep disorders. So when I read the study and it said, was that the root cause? Did we solve the Rubik's Cube just by treating sleep? You solved ADHD? No. I think there's definitely associations, and the big thing is always going to be this. No matter what sleep disorder we talk about, sleep apnea, restless legs, well, the bottom line point is sleep deprivation. The bottom line point is poor quality sleep, and when you put those things together, there's never going to be a good result, is there? No. And when you're sleep deprived, and you know, we're adults, well, we present with, you know, sleepiness during the day, but not kids, huh? When kids present with excessive sleepiness, they're gonna actually have hyperreactivity, those symptoms that mimic that ADHD. So when you're talking about the melatonin, one of the common things that kids with ADHD have is what they call being a night owl, that delayed sleep phase syndrome, where they go to bed late, and it's not a big deal if they wake up late, it's when they have to go to school in the morning, isn't it? And then they're gonna be sleep deprived, and that's gonna feed all those symptoms of ADHD even more. And let me throw a curveball in there. Besides those two things, what about the medications to treat ADHD? Stimulants, methylphenidate, Ritalin, dextroamphetamine, Adderall. Yeah. Well, if you're taking these medications, especially long-acting, I'm going to tell you, you're going to have difficulty falling asleep. You're going to have multiple arousals during the night. When you have this delayed sleep phase syndrome, this night owl, your melatonin is getting secreted at the wrong times. And that's going to contribute to that waking up later during the day, contribute to that sleep deprivation. So we got to work on it.
What's your advice to a parent where maybe it's their child and they've been newly diagnosed with ADHD? We know that there has been a lot of overdiagnosis lately.
Sure.
They, of course, then are put on stimulants. If the root cause might be poor sleep, what's your recommendation?
So I think the first thing to do is, if anyone who has that diagnosis, is see a doctor to make sure you're not missing an underlying sleep disorder. If you have sleep apnea, I mean, treat it. You will feel better. But let's talk about the most common thing, which is going to be that night owl. So I think the first thing the parent needs to know is, well, how much sleep is my kid getting? And for us, we know the magic number for sleep, isn't it? It's that 7 to 8 hours per night. But that's not the same amount of sleep a kid needs. It's going to be anywhere between 8 to 11, with the sweet spot being around 9 to 10. So you got to find out how much sleep do you really need. And then the hard part is this: moving back that sleep time. Oh boy. It's so easy to stay up late, but it's hard to go to bed early. And you know how you do that? Well, we as parents have to be good role models. We have to actually try to have a nice transitioning into sleep, setting up the environment, making sure they have a good diet, dinner at the set time, make sure they get out and exercise. And the key thing I see with school kids is that parents sometimes tend to forget that there are 7 days in the week, not 5. So they're gonna be strict 5 days, but if they had a hard week on Friday night, you know what? Why don't you stay up a little bit later? Why don't you sleep in on Saturday, you know what I mean? And that's not really what the kid needs. It needs to be, let's get up early and do something together, go outdoor and exercise as a family. So there's definitely behavioral things that we can do to help out with these situations.
I think this is a great topic, and thank you, as I always say, the irony is, you always bring such great energy. It's just ironic that you're a sleep doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.